Hello everybody, welcome back to our little tarot corner. I'm Allie from Tarot, and I hope that you are all having a beautiful start to your new year. I know that I have made a couple videos here and there this year, but consider this the starting point of something good, okay? I have a couple ideas for the way that I want to see the channel play out this year, and to begin, I thought I would kind of introduce a new series of mine that I think we're going to play with on the channel. So, Dawn Michelle started her own hashtag playing with pairs, and I love seeing her put decks together in different combinations and seeing what works and what doesn't and what works because it doesn't work. And Krista from Krista Chronicles also does her own thing with that, which she calls hers deck speed dating, where she brings in different decks to go with others to see what fits best. So I thought I would kind of throw my 2 cents in and put in my variation on it, and I'm gonna call it deck dilly-dallying. It's just gonna be a fun way for me to play with my decks, to see what goes with each other, and to kind of just play with decks, right? And interact with my cards more, and hopefully give you guys some more content to watch so that we can be more acquainted this year. So today's first installment of Deck Dilly-Dallying, I wanted to do Duality Decks. Now, I know that that's a lot of alliteration. That wasn't intentional, but the decks that I want to show you today, I've got 6 pairs here, and these go together because they, to me, feel like opposites, and they complement each other. So, without over-explaining, we'll just jump in. Now, the first pair is the Crimson Asteria Tarot with the Solara Occulto Meliora Tarot. Now, these do happen to be by the same artist, and we've got a couple pairs here today that do have the same artist or creator. But I'll kind of get into explaining why they fit momentarily. So here we'll do the Crimson Asteria. Forgive any fingerprints that you may see. This cardstock does lend itself to such things. And Solara Occulto. Here we go. Now, again, they are by the same creator. Let's move that light a little bit. They are by the same creator, and so they do fit together aesthetically very well. You've got shiny gold backs with the Crimson Asteria having red borders and red edging, and the Solara Occulto having black edging and a black border on the back. Now these two kind of go together as a balance of more intricate and more simple. Also kind of the duality of masculine versus feminine, and also kind of the polarity of seasons, I feel. So let's zoom in a little bit. Kind of adjust here. So yeah, the Solara Occulto is definitely, in my opinion, more masculine feeling. It's definitely harder hitting. Not that they aren't both, but I definitely feel like the Solara Occulto, the Solara Occulto does not mess around. Whereas the Crimson Asteria, I find a little bit more gentle. Also, you have the contrast of their names. The Solara, or sun, solar, right? And the Asteria, or star. So you have that, whenever I think of the sun, I think of Aries, I think of the Emperor, I think of that masculine energy, right? And then Asteria is the star. It's that softness, that hope, kind of more of a nod to femininity for me. Also, as you can see, the cards are less busy in the Crimson Asteria. So, to me, they just very much fit as 2 different sides of the same coin. But yeah, you can kind of see here, they definitely fit together to me as a pair. I also love using the Solara Occulto, funnily enough, in like fall and summer, and the Crimson Asteria in winter, in spring. Don't know why. You could really use either one for both times of year. I could also see the red being fiery and kind of summery, but I can see the gold being summery, so yeah. Anyway, I'm just a fan of Amanda Spicer's decks, and I think she's incredible. So that's enough gabbing about those, but that's the first pair, the Crimson Asteria Tarot and the Solara Occulto Meliora Tarot. Next pair is going to be a pair that I definitely think started this whole thing in my mind. These are the decks that began it all and started us on the journey that we're on now. These are the two decks that made me really think about what I wanted to do with this video and why I wanted to do this video. And that would be the Lubanco Tarot and the Blood Moon Tarot. Now again, just like the Solara Occulto and the Crimson Asteria, these two also definitely feel masculine and feminine to me. Forgive the glare on the spot gloss on the boxes, but as you can see, the Lubanco Tarot has silver details and it's kind of more rough around the edges, I would say, in the art style, and I mean that with all the compliments. I adore this deck. And then you have the Blood Moon Tarot, which is gold. It's very earthy and sensual and warm, and thus it feels to me like it nods towards the feminine. These are both decks that are great for dream work, in my opinion. That's what I use them for anyway. And they definitely have different personalities when you work with them as well. The Blood Moon Tarot is much more, I would definitely say feminine in its approach. It still doesn't mess around. A lot of the decks that I'm showing today actually are very honest decks, which I appreciate about them, but specifically the Blood Moon Tarot is a little bit more gentle in her approach, whereas the Lubanco Tarot is just like, here it is, man. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat. And here are the backs. You can kind of see more of what I mean here. We have a beautiful feminine figure with the pomegranate in the center and the serpents. And for the Lubanco, we have more of a, again, just it feels colder and more masculine, you know, kind of a little bit more distant. And also, as on the boxes, they're both gilded differently, silver and gold. But yeah, as I said, this pair I use for dream work. The Lubanco Tarot, I have interpreted many a dream with, and let me tell ya, he doesn't play games. I am one of those people that personifies my decks, so. And the Blood Moon Tarot, it takes you into a world of its own, and it's very, very dreamy, but it's softer. It's got somewhere for you to land, you know. I feel like the Lubanco Tarot is a little bit more cerebral, while the Blood Moon is more grounded and earth-based. Although, again, they still both are very dreamy. I wonder if I can zoom in just a little bit more. Nope, we're all the way zoomed in. But you can see just the difference in the art styles. They're both incredible decks. Very valuable decks in my collection. The Lubanco Tarot definitely has a couple cards that they make people uncomfortable. But so does the Blood Moon in a different way. I mean, you know, that's why these decks are invaluable, because they make you uncomfortable sometimes. Also, in the Blood Moon Tarot, the suits are renamed. So you have Skins for Wands and Songs for Cups. Look at that Fool card. I'm about it. And then this is a really powerful image for the Six of Cups in the Lubanco. I love how it's two children, or what I assume are two children, playing in the bottom of this cup. And the cup is kind of spilled everywhere, and it's like, I don't know, it feels like, you know, spilling your juice, or like watercolor water left over in your glass when you're painting, right? Just making a mess and having fun as a kid. The complete lack of worry. I don't know, something about that card just really, really speaks to me. I also really love this High Priestess in the Blood Moon Tarot. I mean, look at that. It's such a powerful image. Okay, and then the third suit is Honey, which is the Earth suit, or the Suit of Pentacles. And then We already talked about skins, which are wands. So skins, songs, and then honey and dreams is the last suit. Dreams are the suit of swords. Here we go. Here would be your 5 of dreams or your 5 of swords. I mean, tell me that that's not a little bit confronting. Same with this Hierophant though, right? So they're both confronting in different ways. And I love them. But yeah, these are the 2 decks that started it all in my brain. And these are the Lubanco Tarot and the Blood Moon Tarot. Okay, next pair is another pair by the same artist. And these are the Epir Tarot and the True Black Tarot. Both of these are decks by Arthur Wang. Again, we see the complete polarity of black and white. Not only that though, we have on the True Black Tarot, the box has black spot gloss, and on the Epir, the details are in gold spot gloss. So let's take a look. Now these are also different production-wise. The True Black Tarot has a thicker cardstock, and the Epir is the newer deck of the 2. It just recently came out as a Kickstarter, although I believe it's available just for purchase now. And the True Black is also available as far as I know. But the cardstock of the True Black is thicker, and the Epir is thinner. I don't riffle shuffle either deck, but in theory the Epir is easier to do so. Let's see, I'll stand them up together so you can see just the difference in thickness. And you can kind of see the True Black is much thicker there. These are the beautiful backs, again, with the beautiful black spot gloss on the back of the True Black, and the gold on the Epir. These 2 also feel, again, masculine and feminine, but they also bring an essence of day and night, in my opinion. I really like using these 2 decks when I'm kind of examining a decision and how I want to make a decision, how I go about making that decision. I find that these 2 are invaluable for that practice. And the way that he worked with light in the True Black is just incredible. I mean, you can see the light coming down onto the creature, the little ferret-looking creature, and you can also see the ring of light underneath this little floating pedestal here. I mean, it's just incredible. And the way that he used a different style of light in Epir, where there are no shadows, it's all light, is just incredible. There's also a little bit more color in the True Black than there is in Epir. Now the detail in the Epir lies in all the gold foiled details. You know, the swords here in the background of the King of Swords. Whereas the True Black, the detail is more just in the title and the spot gloss at the bottom of the card. But they're both incredible decks. I backed the Epir Tarot on Kickstarter, and I was very, very glad that I did. When I received it, I was all a Twitter. The crazy thing is, too, it's easier to see in person, but this black spot gloss in the back of the cards on the True Black is just, it's more subtle, but it's just as incredible. Anyway, I backed the Epir on Kickstarter, and I was really, really glad I did. I fell in love with it, and I had seen the True Black in a lot of other people's videos, and I was just, for whatever reason, I had hesitated to get it. I didn't pull the trigger, and I decided that I needed it. And I'm really glad that I did. Look at all these tiny little fish. I mean, hello. Yeah, these 2 speak to each other really, really well. They're very good companions in spread work, I've found. And they just look beautiful paired together anyway, you know. It can kind of be, you know, what is in the light, what's in the shadows, what is visible, what is evident, what is apparent, what is available, and what is in the shadows, what is not being revealed, what is not discovered yet, what do I need to find, you know? They're just cool. They're cool decks. They are a wee bit pricey. but I don't regret it. I definitely considered it a solid purchase for my collection. I mean, look at that. I wish that the light showed it better than, you know, than it does, but it's incredible. Cool thing about the Epir Tarot as well, there's one card, let's see if we come across it here. This one. This card from the Epir, the Summon card. Now, the Epir Tarot is a little bit different because it takes you on a hero's journey, whereas the True Black is a little bit more Rider-Waite-Smith friendly. You can use the Epir as a Rider-Waite-Smith, though. There's no problem. You can use them as the classic Major Arcana. They're just renamed. And in the guidebook, they're in different spots because the hero's journey is a little bit different than the Fool's journey. Now, I believe that Summon is... I believe that Summon is Justice, but... Oh, Summon. Okay. Oop. Sorry, that was the box slamming. Okay. So the cool thing about this guidebook is it tells you what's in gold on the back of the card, and then it tells you where you would put it in the traditional Major Arcana. So if you wanted to think about this as a traditional Major Arcana card, it says here, Summon embodies the scale balancing nature of justice. So this would be the Justice card. But what I wanted to show you guys, the book says, in gold, letters are written upon a note from the Salem witch trials, a dark reminder of the miscarriage of justice. This script reminds us to evaluate our own definitions of justice. What will future generations think of the judgments passed today? So this right here, this writing in the background of this card is from the Salem witch trials. And I won't say every, a lot of the cards have things in the back, like Crescendo. I know this isn't a walkthrough of this deck, but I'm just a fan. Let's see, Crescendo. I believe that's, yeah, this one would traditionally be, get it down. This would traditionally be Judgment. And in gold, it says, carved in Akkadian cuneiform, the Epic of Gilgamesh is the oldest work of literature ever recorded. In it, we find the first ever demon of mythology, I'm gonna butcher this, Humbaba, who later inspires stories of ogres, giants, and the Greek Gorgons. He is described, Humbaba, his voice is the deluge, his speech is fire, his breath is death. His face is a twisting mosaic contorted by nightmares of dread, his open mouth shakes the earth, and a flood of smoke and poison pour from him. Crescendo demands from us an unparalleled vigor, pushing our spirit and resolve to their limits. Our destiny is carved in moments such as this, the climax of our struggles, a race to the final mountaintop on which we build all future legacies. I mean, it's not like he thought about it or anything. Yeah, I could geek out on these two decks forever, but again, for all the aforementioned reasons, these are a beautiful pair, and these are the True Black Tarot and the Epir Tarot, both by Arthur Wayne. Next, we have a pair of decks that I like to pair together because they reference the same time gone by. These are the Housewives Tarot and the Zombie Tarot. Both of these, I believe, are printed by the same people, I think. Or if not, they are brilliantly created to where I would believe that they were created to be together. But yeah, these two are both set in kind of the same time period, and I find them very useful for, again, just like with the True Black and the Epir, these two are very, very useful for what is on the surface, what's visible, what's being presented, how is it appearing versus what's really going on. We'll zoom in a little bit. So these are the backs. You may have seen both of these decks before. I know lots of people have talked about the Zombie Tarot, so we won't linger too long, but these decks are just funny. I like the Housewives Tarot because it presents that perfect, you know, mother gets up and starts making breakfast, has breakfast ready for everybody in a sparkling kitchen right after breakfast. Father hops in his car and goes to work, comes home to their 2 perfect children, and it's just, you know, beautiful. And the zombie tarot is set in the zombie apocalypse, but in the same time period. So, as I said, they're very great for what is being presented and what is really going on underneath. Like, what's the reality of the situation? Sorry about that shaky camera. It's attached to my table, and I have another little side table that I could attach the camera to, but the thing about that is it just doesn't hold up well. Anyway, I love this Empress card specifically. She's got a zombie child, and she's like, "You're not taking my baby." Absolutely not. And then the Fool, it's, "Oh no, look at all the things I've dropped." So they're just funny. They're both very enjoyable. So you have the Fool here, and he's walking through a graveyard. The zombies are starting to come up, but he's clueless. He's walking through. Yeah, these I like. I like to lay 3 of the Housewives cards over top, and then 3 zombie cards below to kind of mirror the situation. And I've just found them very perfectly. I actually kind of have found that the Housewives deck for me is like a good sort of rage deck, where if I'm really frustrated or I'm annoyed or peeved, it's kind of like, it gives me an outlet to kind of like mock perfection in a weird way, if you get what I mean. Like, look at these 10 of Cups. All these beautiful little cocktails. And then you have the Knight of Swords, who's smoking a cigarette, wielding swords and guns, driving over zombies and humans alike. Doesn't really care. Just get out of my damn way. Oh, these decks. These decks are so wonderful. There's some favorites in my collection. Another deck that I like to use with my zombie tarot is the Nicoletta Ciccoli tarot, and that was a deck combo that was definitely inspired by Candy at Candy Soul and Soil. I really, really love putting those together. They're actually very, very neat when you put them together. What's really great too is this deck does poke fun at itself. Like, look at all these ingredients: sorrow, joy, justice, instant anger, all in her little mixer there. How cute. And the 5 of Cups. Oh no, 2 of our martinis have spilled. Whereas the Ace of Swords, you got a man fighting a zombie over the sword. You get my point. I don't have to drive it home, but these are so great. I have such a good time reading with these decks. And these are the Housewives Tarot and the Zombie Tarot. Next up is a couple of Baba Studio decks. Now, these two, to me, instead of being masculine, feminine, or what is seen, what is not seen, these two are kind of daytime versus nighttime. So for this, we have the Victorian Romantic Tarot and the classic, you guessed it, Bohemian Gothic Tarot. Now, I like these two together because, as I said, these are daytime and nighttime. So while they're both set, I feel, in a Victorian time period, well, obviously the Victorian Romantic is, but the Bohemian Gothic also seems to fit kind of in that time period. And to me, it's like what goes on in the light of day versus what goes on in the shadows. Zoom in here. Now, with the cold foil stamping, these might be a little bit tricky to see, but these are the backs of the Victorian Romantic. Now, this is the most recent 4th edition, and this is also the most recent 4th edition of the Bohemian Gothic Tarot. Here's a better look at the backs. I love the bats on the corner of these. I also have the special large edition of the Bohemian Gothic, and it is forever my favorite. But yeah, these, I mean, nobody makes a deck like Baba Studios. I think that can be pretty fairly said. Their production quality is, bar none, the best. The cold stamping on these is really, really beautiful, but I find that they're also not impossible to read, just in direct light. So they got that going for them. But yeah, again, these two are just what happens during the day versus what happens at night. It seems like the same city just before and after dark, you know? Like some coastal city during Victorian times. I love this devil card. I know that it's really, really dark and potentially triggering for some, but I love this card. And I love this little hermit. Look at him. He's so cute. Both of these decks are great. I adore them both. I actually had an earlier version of the Victorian Romantic, and I got rid of it when I purchased my 4th edition just because this particular copy felt like mine. Love this strength card. Look at that. I'm really glad that they didn't change that card very much. We have the moon and the world. See, doesn't it just feel like the same place? Just the secret dark underbelly. These kind of function when I read them together, which I don't do very often. The Bohemian Gothic I like to let speak for itself. But when I do read them together, it really is an interesting mix. Because the Bohemian Gothic, as we all know, is super sassy to me. And blatantly honest. I've always thought that this 3 of Cups was so beautiful. Just this gorgeous party scene. And yeah, I'm losing track of my words just because I'm looking at these beautiful cards. This Ace of Swords. Look at the colors in that sky. Just breathtaking, right? These are the Victorian Romantic Tarot and the Bohemian Gothic Tarot, both by Baba Studios. I do believe, I think I said this already, but they are apparently going to reprint the Victorian Romantic one more time, as well as the Tarot of Prague. So if that is one that's been on your wish list, that will be coming at some point, as well as I think the Alice Tarot may be printed next year in 2025. I don't know that they'll reprint any of them again after that. And then of course they have their Bohemian Theater Cats Tarot coming out too. Okay, last pair. We have some animal decks. Now these I'm pairing together because one is nice and one is not so nice. One is friendly and artsy and pretty, and one is not afraid to use its talons to shred your face. And these are the Northern Animal Tarot and the Brady Tarot. Now, I have a 1st edition of the Northern Animal Tarot, so mine is on the original linen cardstock. Kind of the blues on the backs are mismatched. It's delicious. It still has its funky smell. I'm all about it. There's a new version now that's on a newer linen cardstock, which people are going nuts for. But I'm too attached to mine, so I've never bought a new version. And the Brady Tarot is on thicker cardstock with a rose petal finish. And it is gold gilded, whereas the Northern Animal is not. And yeah, as I said, these are, one is nice and one is not so nice. One is bright and happy, which technically the Brady Tarot has nice bright colors too, but the bright colors don't take away from the intensity. Lisa Papez said it best when she called this like a National Geographic deck, and I totally see what she meant by that, and I 1000% agree. The Brady Tarot is not afraid to show you the reality of wildlife, the circle of life, the way that the real world works, right? So here you see this bird of prey coming up on a prairie dog. It's gonna get it. Like, this prairie dog, unfortunately, has nowhere to go. It is how it is. And over here, the Nine of Swords, while a very sad card, it's sad because you got a little buddy and he's shaken because he's nervous. Maybe he got woken up from a bad dream, or he is scared to go to sleep because he woke up from a nightmare. Whatever the case, they're very different, you know? And I love it. Again, the Brady Tarot has very bright and beautiful colors, but that doesn't detract from the messages that it gives, and it's going to tell you exactly what's going on. I just love these decks so much. The styles of these are very different too. You have the softer drawn / I believe, I don't know that this was watercolor, but the softer design, softer line work of the Northern Animal versus the harsh woodblock printing style of the Brady Tarot. That also makes the difference here. This is the second edition of the Brady Tarot. The first edition was on white cardstock, and I think is a little bit smaller, but I don't think that one's available at all anymore. You can find it online, but I like the black border version better. So you can just see, when you need some animal energy and you want you want storybook, you want more gentle, Northern Animal is the way to go. Or the Gentle Tarot. But I pit these two more against each other, really. If you want to look at animal imagery while helping you work through things, the Brady Tarot is great. But I'm very glad to have them both in my collection. This is actually my second copy of the Brady Tarot because I sold mine and realized that I wanted it back. So, like here, you have these blue jays, and the one is on the ground. It's dead. It's not getting up. Yeah. But I decided I need both. And I have space for both in my collection because, again, they do completely different things. So, I love this little raccoon magician. And look, like the colors in the Brady Tarot are just astounding. And the wood block with all the thick black lines, it looks like candy. So, I do love this card though because, like, look, it's holding the arrows itself. Or at least two of them. Like, so is it really as bad as it seems, or are you just playing possum? I love that imagery. So yeah, these are the Northern Animal Tarot and the Brady Tarot. And I love them. There is, let me show, because we've seen a couple of the cards that are tough, but there's one in particular that always gets me. And it is the Five of Arrows, the Five of Swords. And it is an emaciated polar bear floating in the water because its ice has melted and it's bleeding and dying. That to me has always gotten me. It's kind of similar to the, I believe it's actually another polar bear in melted water for the Judgment card in the El Goliath Tarot. That just makes me sad, so anyway, that's why those two are a favorite pair of mine. And that is all that I have to show you. Let me get all these put back here and we'll make our closing remarks. I really appreciate you all hanging out with me today. Thank you so much for looking at these decks with me and kind of going through the decks that I put together. I hope you enjoyed seeing a couple of the decks that I put together. If you have any of these decks or you like these decks, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you have some that you like to use. You know, let me know what you enjoy using. But anyway, that is it. I'm just gonna keep stacking boxes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.